Module 17. Importing data into Excel. In Module 17, we'll be exploring importing from an external data source, using a database query, importing data from a web page, some exercises and their solutions, and a final summary. So why import data from other sources? Well, Excel endeavours to make other data types as accessible as possible. Using access queries means that only relevant data from a database can be acquired. And with the wide array of data available on the internet, it makes sense to utilise it as efficiently as possible. So let's begin. Before we start, we should define what we mean by external data. If we go to the Data tab in the ribbon, back in Module 11 we already saw how to import from Access and from text. But we also have another button here called From Other Sources. If we click this button, we can see a wide array of different types of data that can be imported into Excel. For our example, we're going to import an XML file. XML is a programming language that's used by spreadsheets. And to see how it works, if I open Firefox, we can see I've already opened a web page with some basic book details inside it. If we right-click this file and go to View Page Source, we can see the original HTML document, or the document that was written to create the table, here in all its detail. If we look through the code, however, we can see no reference to the details currently stored within the table. The reason for this is because the HTML file calls a file called library.xml. All the details for our table are held within this file. So what we'll do is we'll import this file into our spreadsheet. We can do this in one of two ways. We can go to the From Other Sources button, from an XML data import, and as I created the file, it's stored here on my desktop. If I click Open, Microsoft Excel informs us that there's no schema to this particular XML source data. A schema is really how it arranges the data on the page. As we saw before, the HTML document takes care of that. So we're asking Excel to make an informed choice. If we click OK, it asks us where we wish our data to be imported. As we want it on our sheet 1 within our spreadsheet, we just click OK. And the XML file is drawn from the file into Excel. So that's one method of importing an external data source that's held on a local computer. But we can also do the same thing by downloading the file from the web. If we go to Firefox, we have the Google Drive for the Shaw Academy Excel modules. Inside the drive is a folder called Module 17 Files, and inside this folder are three particular files, one of which is our library XML file. If we click this file, there's no preview, but we can download it. If we click on Download, the window opens, prompting us to save the file. If we click OK, then navigate to our Downloads folder, there's our library XML file here. If we open this file now, we can see how an XML file is sorted and all its raw data. Once we're happy that the XML file is downloaded, we can close off the Downloads folder, go back to Excel, go to Data, From Other Sources, and again the XML data import. Navigate to our Downloads folder, find our file, and click Open. Again, Excel doesn't have the schema as that's stored on the HTML file, but it will generate one for us. Click OK, define where we wish our table to be stored, and once again our XML file from an external data source is imported perfectly into Excel. On a final note, the From Other Sources button reveals a wide variety of different types of data that can be imported into Excel. almost any originating data that can be arranged in a way that Excel understands can be imported and used. But the door swings both ways. For example, if we select our table and go to the Developer tab in the ribbon, we can export our table as an XML file. We'll call this one Test and click Export. If we then navigate to where we saved our file and double-click it, it will open up a website revealing the raw XML data file that we've just exported. So using functions like this can be both helpful to a website developer and an Excel user. To import a database query, again we go to the Data tab in the ribbon and the From Other Sources button. Select the very bottom option, the From Microsoft Query. Select this and the Choose Data Source window opens. In our case, we're going to use the Microsoft Access database. Select this and click OK. Navigate to where our database is stored. In this case, it's on the desktop. And click OK. Here's our database here, the Module 17 book database. Select this and select OK. And the query wizard opens. We have two options here. We already have a stored query within our database. In the database, this query contains title, author and price. So we can use these if we wish, or we can generate our own. Click the plus next to the table and we'll choose title, edition and price. Once we have our selected columns for the query, click Next and the Filter Data wizard opens. We can choose to filter each one of these or choose not to filter them at all. Selecting Next means the filters will apply to each one of the columns. We can then sort our data by ascending or descending order. We'll choose the title in ascending order and click Next. The final step asks us if we would like to return the data to Microsoft Excel or view the data or edit the query in Microsoft Query. For our purposes, we're going to import this directly into Excel. Click Finish. Finally, where we wish to position our data, as always in cell A1, and click OK. And here's our query from our Microsoft database, our title, our edition and our price. And all three contain filtering options that can be used. So that's using a database query with the wizard. But if we want a more complicated version, again we go to the Data tab in the ribbon, go to From Other Sources and again from Microsoft Query. We go through the same motions we did before and use the Access database. Navigate to the database. And again, we sort our columns. So this time we'll have title, the published year, the price, and the amount available. Click Next, Next again, and Next again. Finally, on the Finish page, we're not going to return this data to Microsoft Excel. We're going to view the data or edit query in Microsoft Query. So we select this radio button and click Finish. Using Microsoft Query gives us the same options to develop a query that we would if we were using Microsoft Access. We have a variety of options available within the buttons and also within each one of the tabs. When we're finished with our query, we return the data to Microsoft Excel or cancel and return to Microsoft Excel. So we'll return the data, define its position, and again, our Microsoft Query returns into Excel. There are two ways of importing data from a web page into Excel. The first method requires only going to the web page, in this case the Wikipedia Excel page, copying the data required, and pasting it directly into Excel. Some adjustment may be required. The second method involves going to the Data tab, going to From Web, and the new web query window opens. The web query window is literally a browser within Excel. We can either type where we need to go within the Google search, or get the URL from the site we require. In this case, the Google site's Sure Academy My Web Data Test, and clicking Go. Using this method gives us further options to decide which areas of the website we require to use. In this case, we want the web library table, so we click this arrow here until we get the tick sign. If we don't require this, we can always untick it. Once we have the data we need, click Import and define where it's going to be imported into Excel. As always, cell A1. Click OK, and Excel will copy the web data directly into the page. For the first exercise, import the library XML file into Excel. Okay, so to import the XML file into Excel, you can find the file within the Module 17 exercise folder. Go to the Data tab, go to From Other Sources, and choose From XML Data Import. Navigate to where the file is located, click Open, and click OK. Decide where you want it to go in Excel, and the file should import. For the next exercise, create a database query that uses the Module 17 Book Databases exercise file. Include in the query the title, the author, the price, and the ISBN number. Okay, so to create our database query, we go to the Data tab in the ribbon and choose From Other Sources. We select the last option from Microsoft Query, access our database, and navigate to it. You can find the database file held within the Module 17 exercises folder. Once we've selected our database, click OK, open up the table and include title, author, the ISBN number, and the price. Once we're happy, click Next. We'll include all our sorts, and for us, we'll keep the title in ascending order. And we'll return the data to Microsoft Excel and click Finish. Lastly, defining its position within the database, and there we have it. For the last exercise, use the link provided in the Module 17 exercises folder to open up the web library table and import its information into Excel. Okay, so to import the data from the web table, first navigate to the table and copy its URL. Go back to Excel, go to the Data tab, and go to From Web. Widen the browser window if needed, paste the URL, and click Go. Select this table and click Import. Lastly, define where it's going to live in Excel and click OK. The data gets copied over to Excel and appears within the spreadsheet. So in summary, it makes sense to take advantage of harmonizing data wherever possible. Utilizing the efficiency of Access and Excel's data management and calculation options opens opportunities to expand and enhance the work. And with data of all descriptions available online, Excel makes it convenient to use it in a variety of methods. Thanks very much, and we'll see you in the next module.